It's the first of the month. The payment is due on the place that you live in, that you purchased. You purchased a trailer. Why? Because you're really poor. And poor people typically live in trailers. Your payment? $14.60 a month. Your bank account? Negative $35. Why? Your Goldman Sachs card paid the minimum payment of $90. A day late. A second comes around. Your bank account? Negative $55. Why? Your bank? They charge you $20 in overdraft, making your account, which is already negative, more negative. You haven't been paid in 3 weeks because your boss forgot to pay you again. You tried looking for another job. No one will hire you. Why? You don't have enough experience. How are you supposed to get experience if no one will hire you? So you stay at the job where you make less than $400 a week after taxes. But you haven't been paid in 3 weeks. Third, yeah, your car insurance is due. You pay $298 a month on 2 trucks that you own, make no payment on, that you bought outright. Yeah, they're 20 years old, each over 20 years old. And you pay $298 for the bare minimum insurance policy that you could possibly purchase in the state of New York for $10,000 worth of liability coverage. And it's still $298 a month. You start getting bills in the mail. Propane, water, sewer, electric, Wi-Fi. The people that provide you Wi-Fi? Yeah, they're sending you letters. What do the letters say? If you don't start making payments, we're going to shut off your service. But you are making payments, but apparently it's not enough. Then your credit card bills start coming. You have $10,000 worth of credit card debt. You don't see a way out. Interest rate on all those cards? Between 29 and 31%. Because you're young. And there's no cap on interest rates on credit cards. So they can rape you as much as they want to. Most of those credit cards, maxed out. Why? Because you make less than $400 a week. And sometimes those credit cards, the only thing keeping you fed, the only thing keeping fuel in your vehicles so you can go to work just to not get paid. There's no food in your house right now because you haven't been paid in 3 weeks. And your credit cards, those bills, the numbers on there, too fucking high. So you don't buy food, and you haven't bought food in 3 weeks. What'd you eat yesterday? Stale pita crackers. What'd you eat for dinner? Alcohol and flour. Why? Because if you're on alcohol and flour, you're not thinking about the fact that you haven't been paid in 3 weeks and that you're in $10,000 of debt and you can't make the payments on the place that you get drunk and high in. Health insurance? You had health insurance at your last job for 3 months. You paid almost $500 in those 3 months, but you never used your health insurance once. And now you think you might need health insurance because you're starting to notice some problems, probably related to the fact that you're not eating anything because you can't afford to eat anything. So you ask the state, hey, can I get some free or reduced cost health insurance? The state? They say, no. You make too much money. You'll be fine. You make less than $400 a week. You haven't been paid in 3 weeks. So you can't see a doctor. Even though it feels like your insides are trying to turn themselves inside out. That's how bad it hurts. Your credit card bills are due again. The statements, they keep going up. But you keep making payments. Why? Interest. interest. 29 to 31% on all of your credit cards. Every single month. One of those credit cards alone is at over $5,000. The only thing that's on that credit card is your repairs to both of your 20-year-old vehicles. Just so they can pass New York State inspection. No mechanical issues, just to pass New York State inspection. Your cats are eating every day. Only because you weren't. You need to buy fuel again. You need to buy propane again. So you reach out to the state. Hey, I need to buy propane, but I don't have enough money. Is there anything we can do about that? The state says, no, you make plenty of money. You'll be fine. You? You make less than $400 a week. But you haven't been paid in 3 weeks.
A lot of people don't really understand how fast financial stress can build up until they're actually in it. It's rarely one huge moment that breaks everything. It's usually a bunch of small things that keep stacking on top of each other over time, you know what I mean? For example, missing one paycheck or like getting hit with one unexpected fee, you know what I mean? On its own, it's not really that big of a deal, but the problem is that nothing stops after that first hit. Rent is still due on the same date no matter what's happening in your account. Bills are still automatically getting pulled out even if your timing's off. And once your account goes into the negatives, fees start stacking on top of that. Those fees don't just sit there either. They keep adding pressure over time, interest and everything like that. So now you're just catching up, but you're still falling behind at the same time. And then that leads to like a snowball effect, which really just shows how easy you can get pushed off balance and off course, you know what I mean? And once that balance is gone, it takes way more effort to recover than like most people would expect who haven't been in that situation before. Even a normal month can turn into a stressful one just due to like timing and when your bills are due and everything like that, you know what I mean? What people call being broke is often more likely just reacting to certain problems. You're not really planning ahead anymore, you're just trying to stay above water. Every decision starts getting shaped by what you can delay, what you can ignore, and what you can avoid. And that pressure builds up mentally just as much as financially. It starts to feel like every choice has consequences, you can't fully see it. Even small purchases feel heavier because you're always thinking about what happens next. That's why I can feel like there's no real reset point once things start slipping. Because you don't just fix one problem and move on, you know what I mean? You're fixing problems that keep generating new ones, and you're basically screwed for a while. So that's why most people can't really see the difficulties that come along with it. They only see that one situation, not the constant chain reaction that happens because of it, you know what I mean? And once that initial stress turns into a pattern, everything else starts feeling connected to it. Money stops being something you manage and starts feeling like something you're constantly losing control of. Even basic expenses start to feel heavier than they should. Things like insurance, utilities, or subscriptions don't feel small anymore when the timing's off. That's where people start leaning on credit cards just to bridge the gap. And that's how debt starts to build without it feeling like one big decision. It's just a series of I'll deal with it later moments that end up stacking up over time, you know what I mean? But the issue is that later always comes way faster than people expect. And that interest doesn't wait for you to get like back on balance, you know what I mean? It just keeps stacking up, piling up. It just keeps adding weight in the background while you're trying to catch up. So even when you think you're making progress, you're just slowing down the fall. That's why debt can feel so hard to escape when it starts going. Not because it's one huge amount, but because it keeps growing while you're standing still or trying to catch up. And at that point, even normal spending becomes stressful because everything feels like it has consequences. You're not just thinking about today, you're thinking about what today does to next month, you know what I mean? That kind of mental load is really what wears people down over time. Because every decision turns into a calculation instead of just like a choice that you want to enjoy. And eventually that becomes the default way you operate. The other part of this whole topic is how it affects people mentally, not just financially. When money is tight long enough, stress stops feeling temporary and it starts feeling normal. You're always kind of aware that something could go wrong at any moment. That creates a constant low pressure in the background of everything you do. Even when nothing is actively happening, you're still thinking about what could hit next. And that makes it harder to focus on long-term planning or bigger goals. Because most of your energy goes into handling the immediate situation. Over time, that can make life feel a lot smaller than it actually is. Not because there aren't options, but because everything feels so out of reach at the same time. That's also why content like this hits people so strongly online. It takes scattered real-life problems and compresses them into one intense narrative. And even if the exact scenario is exaggerated, I'm not saying this video is, but that feeling behind it is still familiar with a lot of people. The idea of working, trying to stay afloat, and still feeling hella behind is pretty relatable. But it's also important to separate emotional truths from literal accuracy, because real financial situations usually aren't one continuous collapse like that. They're more uneven with ups and downs and hard periods. Still, the core idea stands. When you're close to the edge, small things matter a lot more. And that's what makes the situation so intense when they happen. Even the smallest events can have the biggest consequences in times like these.
Yo, I'm finally broke, man. I am fucking tired, man. Every month. Every single month. Every fucking month. Every fucking month, man. I am tired, y'all. We gotta come together to do something because I am tired. I am tired of having to pay this shit, man. These bitch ass bills, man. No matter how much money you make, shit, they gonna charge you more to take it out your pocket. Like real talk, man. I am fucking tired, man. Like I'm over here thinking about fucking just dropping my whole goddamn apartment and just sleeping in my motherfucking car. Because, like, man, I am tired paying this shit every fucking month, man. And I don't own not a goddamn thing in the apartment except for the shit that I put in the apartment. I'll never own a goddamn apartment. I am fucking tired, man. Every fucking month I gotta pay this shit. Every fucking month I gotta pay this shit. I am fucking tired, man.
So when you really look at it, the biggest takeaway is that financial stress usually isn't the result of one dramatic event. Most of the time, it's a gradual process where small setbacks keep stacking on top of each other until one of them becomes too difficult to manage. A missed paycheck, an unexpected bill, a late fee, or a few bad days with bad timing don't seem like much on their own. But when they happen together, it creates a cycle that's very hard to break. That challenge is that life doesn't pause when you're trying to recover. Rents still due, bills still arrive, and existing debt continues to grow in the background. As that pressure builds, people often stop thinking about long-term goals and start focusing on immediate survival. And what makes these situations even more difficult is the mental impact. When money is tight for so long, that stress becomes a part of your everyday routine, and you carry it into other areas of your life, which just messes up your whole entire life. And these stories are so important because it helps resonate with people who are in this exact situation. And I think it's essential that we know that this isn't something super rare, you know what I mean? That we're not alone. And for people who are in this situation, you can recover, you know what I mean? And I hope you do, and don't give up. But if you guys enjoyed the video, let me know in the comments what you guys think. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.